have a job, don't pay your bills, won't buy you a home in Beverly Hills, won't fix your life in 5 easy steps, ain't the law of the land or the government, but it's all you need, and love will hold us together, make us a shelter to weather the storm, and I'll be my neighbor's keeper, so the whole world will know that we're not alone. It's waiting for you, knocking at your door in the moment of truth, when your heart hits the floor and you're on your knees, and love will hold us together, make us a shelter to weather the storm, and I'll be my neighbor's keeper, so the whole world will know that we're not alone. This is the first day of the rest of your life. This is the first day of the rest of your life. 'Cause even in the dark, you can still see the light. It's gonna be alright. It's gonna be alright. This is the first day of the rest of your life. This is the first day of the rest of your life. 'Cause even in the dark, you can still see the light. It's gonna be alright. It's gonna be alright. Love will hold us together, make us a shelter to weather the storm, and I'll be my neighbor's keeper, so the whole world will know that we're not alone.
Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Boulder. My name's Fred Cole, and I'll be the worship associate for this morning's service. Now, once upon a time, you know how stories start? Once upon a time, chemists believed that they could transform lead into gold or death into life. And this belief or this process was called alchemy. Well, we here at UUCB are also involved with a sort of holy alchemy, turning loneliness into connection, pain into comfort, anger into solidarity, faith into action, finding beauty in the ordinary, and life in the present. That wonderful holy alchemy metaphor, as credit goes to Kim Mason, who's the minister at the First Unitarian in St. Louis. But what we mean is that this community is inviting you into our shared time together, but it's also inviting you into a way of life, a way of being in the world that may transform you. We want to grow as individuals and to welcome more people into this community. And we want to help you in your personal dream to make the world and your life better. So there you go. That's our church in a nutshell. And if you're joining us online, please fill out the visitor form. You'll find the link in the video description. We'd love to connect with you. 3 announcements this morning. Next Saturday, that's the 8th, is a very big day for our building expansion project. From 9 to noon, Rodman Architecture team will summarize what we identified to them last month in the first visioning session, and they'll show us some early sketches of potential designs and ask us to give them feedback on those. That's really exciting, and we hope that everyone can make it, but we'd appreciate it if you could please RSVP if you're planning to attend. Now, if you're new or newish, there's 2 invitations following this morning's service at 12:30. Scott Montgomery, our Community and Connections Manager, will be in the listening room, just out through that back door, for a Getting to Know UUCB session. It's an information conversation to help you get oriented as to what we're all about and ways that you can get connected. Or, if you're ready for a little bit more, at the same time, Reverend David is leading a Finding Yourself at UUCB membership class. That'll be held in the Emerson Room, and lunch is provided. And finally, our annual pledge drive kicks off today. You'll be hearing more about that as we go through this morning's service, but I can remind you that you need to pick up a pledge packet at the tables that are set up in the hallway after the service. So, that's what we do. Each week when we gather, we light our chalice, just as over 1,000 other congregations across this nation do. The chalice is a symbol of our Unitarian Universalist past, present, and future. It is a visible reminder of our interconnection with the rest of this country and this world. And I'd like to invite Jack Doggett to light this morning's chalice. Jack?
Good morning. I just noticed all these snowflakes on the wall back there. Such a different view. Wow. I thought they'd all melted. More coming? Yes. I think we can count on that. So I stand here today and inviting you to join together for our annual pledge drive, where we co-create with energy and gathered seeds together for the way we're going to be together over the next year. I see UUCB like a coin, and all coins have 2 sides. So we look to see generosity on one side, but on the other side, see gratitude. We flourish or we perish together through our interwoven acts of generosity, arising from the benevolence and the integrity of each other. And it was reinforced at the 9 o'clock service. Many of those people will never meet because we're getting to where we go to 2 different services. But again, this benevolence and integrity is the power of generosity. What we have to give may be material in nature, or it may be our time, our energy, or our wisdom. We're also generous in welcoming others here who are seeking safety, looking for wisdom, connection, and inspiration. And maybe become our friends along the way. Gratitude, like ingratitude, can be cultivated. Thankfulness is a daily practice that becomes a habit, that becomes a trait. To begin to develop these traits, we have to intentionally notice our interdependence and how we receive from others. Everyone alive here is because someone sacrificed for us. They birthed us, they fed us, they cared for us. None of us are self-made. But in order to exercise this muscle of gratitude, we must acknowledge how much we owe to others. Have you noticed how many folks here say yes? When I was asked by Robin Miller last year to co-lead the pledge drive, I said yes. We have all said yes to one activity or another. Grounds work days, pancake flipping Sundays, the annual men's barbecue in September, our biannual church retreat, lay worship services, and Soul Matters study groups. And the list is much longer, and it continues to grow. So here, I feel safe. I feel safe to grieve with the losses and take joy with the births and the new relationships that form here. I realized recently that much of what I engage with here feeds me, and feeds my heart. And I also trust that I can be held when I'm in pain and not my best self. And what an antidote this place is to what's going on out there in the waves of ugly, shocking news. For me, this is a safe shore for rest and connection before I must move into the river of uncertainty out there. Here, I find refuge. Here, I find genuine friendship and companions for my spiritual journey. Here, I find joy. So I like this chalice in gratitude to be here with you on this journey.
We have to do a little do-si-do up here this morning. Our covenant is the promise that we make to each other about how we will be together here in community. It is simple in words, but very demanding in commitment. In person and in online, will you rise in body and spirit and join together as one as we speak it aloud? We gather in fellowship to speak truth to each other, to reach out and touch one another, to care with each other, and to seek the truth divine. So be it.
A bright morning like this one, a warming morning like this one, makes it easier not just to believe in, but to remember a sense of abundance. That abundance really is real. As much as we may each or all of us feel squeezed in the narrow places of our lives, there's more room and more spaciousness and more possibility. At the first service this morning, someone told me, I don't feel a great deal of optimism these days. He said, I don't feel like things are going to be fine. But then he said, I feel a great deal of hope these days. He said, I look around the room, I look at how my kids are, I look at all of you, and I feel hope. In that spirit, our opening words are by Nancy Schaefer. This is called A Prayer for This Church. May our doors be so open it is drafty inside. And sometimes people shout because noise without also comes within. May those sheltered here sometimes cry all at once, letting tear water clean what words by themselves cannot. In silent times, may everyone present hear each other breathing and know this is not separate from how the world breathes at night. May we always have enough room for those many who want to come in. And may those who cherish this church be so glad they can't stop speaking, stop asking, and may that crowding itself be a gladness as we keep adding rooms. May we notice each one who is new and invite her to stay, and may our list of names for the holy not ever be finished. That's the path that we're following, this abundance path that leads us back home to ourselves and to each other. Will you rise in body or in spirit as Dr. Emily leads us in singing it out?
Our opening hymn this morning is a song, Steve. Steve has many gifts. Thank you, Steve. Get you a congregational president who can also run the soundboard and play the guitar. Our opening hymn this morning is new words written by Michael Dennis Brown to a very famous tune. You might also recognize it as The Lone Wild Bird. It's from the Southern Harmony collection. And so while this isn't in our hymnal, Reverend David and I felt so strongly that the words were so beautiful and so perfect for where we are in this moment. So if you'd be willing to leap into the quasi-known with us, it'll be worth it. Tell me where is the road I can call my own, that I left, that I lost so long ago. All these years I have wandered, oh, when will I know? There's a way, there's a road that will lead me home. After wind, after rain, when the dark is done, as I wake from a dream in the gold of day, through the air there's a calling from far away. There's a voice I can hear that will lead me home. Rise up, follow me, come away is the call. With the love in your heart as the only song, there is no such beauty as where you belong. Rise up, follow me, I will lead you
No such beauty as where you belong. You join me in a spirit of prayer and meditation. It's a funny invitation always. What does that mean, the spirit of prayer and meditation? I think a piece of it is, it's a kind of a holding and a listening. It's this thing you're doing internally, which is not about like narrowly focusing your attention. It's not about blocking out everything that you feel or think or everything that's going on. It's not about, well, I'm going to package up and compartmentalize all my hopes and anxieties and fears and do this other thing now. I think instead, it's a kind of a gentleness inside of ourselves that makes room for all of it. that says to those anxious voices within ourselves, I see you and I hear you, and there's space enough so you can be a little quieter. And that says to the joyful voices inside of ourselves, the celebrating parts of us, that says, there's room for you here. That happiness too is a part of what this living is. And everything else, all the confused in-betweens. Will you join me then in a spirit of prayer and meditation which makes space for all of who we are. Ramadan began on Friday evening, and our words for meditation are by Saadi, who is one of the major Persian poets of the 13th century. He writes, "To worship God is nothing other than to serve the people. It does not need rosaries, prayer carpets, or robes. All people are members of the same body, created from one essence. If fate brings suffering to one member, the others cannot stay at rest." And to his words, we add our own hope and prayer and intention to be a people of integrity, remembering our own interconnection, each with all, that there is no person on this world who is not family. We'll be together in silence for a few breaths. Amen. Our commitment to connect bravely means we're called to be glad, to practice feeling celebration with those who are rejoicing, and to weep with those who mourn, to participate in their grief along with them. And each week we set aside this time in the service to make visible in ritual the joys and the sorrows that shape our lives. In a few moments, as the music begins, for those of us here in person, come forward as you feel moved, starting with the back half of the room, then the sides, then the front. And silently take a stone in token of everything that you hold inside yourself, everything that weighs you down and lifts you up, and place it into the earth to show how your joys and cares take their place in a larger whole held by something bigger than any of us, an invisible landscape of our own interior experience made plain to everyone. This week, we hold in love, in gratitude, in cautious celebration. Our director of religious education, Rachel Alba, is away for most of the month helping her mom through major surgery. She came through it okay, and now the recovery begins. We hold with support and concern all federal workers. And if you want to show that in person tomorrow at 11:45, where is it? At NIST. At NOAA. Tomorrow, before 11:45, Google the exact location, because a big old group of folks is going to gather to show our support and appreciation to NIST, to NOAA, to all of our federal workers. Best wishes to Laurel Sepala Etra, who is recovering from her third cancer surgery. Laura, we love you. We see you. And finally, I shared the sad news that UUCB member Lynette Wood, who'd been in hospice for some time, died this last week. And friends and neighbors are planning a gathering to remember her, more to come. For all of the blessings and the concerns that we carry, we hold this compassionate space with love. And I invite you to come forward as you feel moved.
So recognizing that we're about to drastically shift the mood in the room, one of the things I love about Unitarian Universalism is that we are open and available to encountering the holy in all sorts of unexpected places. So the song that we're about to share with you this morning is a little more rock and roll than what we usually offer to you. Oh. So just to prepare you, like sonically, for what's about to happen. And again, just like the opening hymn, you know, when Reverend David and Rachel and I sit down on Tuesday mornings to talk about worship, what we are always trying to create is an experience where your hearts can open. And that looks different for everybody. And so hopefully, just like that opening hymn, you'll see, when you see the slide with the lyrics, you'll see why we decided to make this choice with you this morning. So this is Let Us Love by the band called Need to Breathe. We were born to embrace, not accept it. We were given nothing more, and so we kept it. As the colors of our boots keep fading, we live a life that we hate without saying. Who would listen to the cries of a poor man? We've never done nothing, how can we be something? Every heart has an hour of existence. Every breath brings a chance for redemption. If somehow we could wake up, let us love like we were children, make us feel like we're still living in a world I know it's burning to the ground. Give us time to beat the system, make us find what we've been missing in a world I know it's burning to the ground. In the crowd of the dead and disappointed, we're ashamed, giving up on what we wanted. Take a chance on a long shot this time. Aren't we all just at least worth another try? I'm a king in the land of abuses, undermined by the promise of excuses. Who's to win if we know that it's not fair? Who would fight when it seems that no one cares? If somehow we could wake up, let us love like we were children. Just feel like we're still living in a world I know it's burning to the ground. Give us time to beat the system, make us find what we've been missing in a world I know it's burning to the ground. It's hard to stay here, but where do we go? I know we can't feel it anymore. It's true that time is wearing us down. We fall further and further away, waiting for always to change. Let us love like we were children, make us feel like we're still living in a world I know it's burning to the ground. Leave your hurting on the road behind you. Let the wind go with you till the morning comes. Yeah, your sorrow, no, it can't save
tell you a story. 7 years ago, it's a true story. 7 years ago, almost 7 years ago, on a sunny July Saturday in Panama City, Florida, the lifeguards had already gone home for the day. The sun was going down. And someone walking along the beach saw out past the breakers, a little ways out, 2 teenage boys with boogie boards who couldn't get back in again. Caught in a current, couldn't get back in again. And so she swam out to help. She made it out to the kids. But then the water was too strong and she couldn't get back either. And then the boy's mother swam out. And then their grandmother and their uncle and more. And every one of them with good intent, fearless, doing the right thing. But now there were 10 swimmers in trouble. This guy walking along the beach, Derek, saw what was happening, and he explains this later on to a reporter. He says, the only thing that popped into my mind at that moment, standing on the sand, the only thing that popped into my mind was if you've ever watched ants and one of their babies is in trouble and can't move, they start making a chain in order to pass them down the line and get them to safety. And that's the only thing I was thinking. If we were arm to arm, we could get out to them. So the two of them, Derek and his wife, started calling over every person that they could find and organizing a chain of total strangers. And a lot of the people they called over said, there is no way we're getting in the water. We are going to get swept out. And then they did it anyway. And this group of strangers to each other linked arms, 40 of them in all, bridging from the shore to the far side of the current, close enough to the struggling swimmers that they could get to the chain and get passed down one by one until they got back to shore. All of them safe, every one. The friend who told me this story, who sent me looking back at the news reports, at the photograph of this incredible thing of people standing in the surf, she said to me, look, no matter how tireless you are, no matter how brave you are, no matter how sure you are of what needs doing, you can't have a fire brigade by yourself. Right? To persevere for the long haul, we need each other. We need each other. There's this journey that we're all on through the world, each of us individually and together too. And some days this living feels bright and beautiful and exciting, and you are packing your bag, fresh out of bed each morning for adventure. And some days, especially reading the news, it feels a whole lot more like our work is to make a human chain out through the chaotic water, past the breakers, and bring in safe as many people as we can. We make this human chain in community. And I'm thinking of it especially this week when Abby, a mom and activist here in the congregation, after the first service, has been setting up a whiteboard and talking with folks to say, here's how you contact your representatives. Here's how you get in touch with the people you need to get in touch with. And I'm thinking of Tasha, a civil rights lawyer in the congregation, who's going to run a session for us on what happens and what do you do if you get arrested at a protest. And I'm thinking of my own experience on Tuesday, testifying to a Colorado Senate committee against a bill which would have law enforcement cooperating with ICE. Each one of us are links in this chain together. And it doesn't end there, because I think about Kathy bringing fresh baked goodies on Sunday morning and putting a smile on 24 faces each week. You're here. And I think about John convening the men's group for breakfast, saying, why don't we just wait once a month? When we get together, have some breakfast sometime. For men, when the whole world, I think, often tells us as men, we should not be talking with each other, we should not be sharing with each other how we really feel about anything. And John says, no, let's get have breakfast, let's talk to each other. And Dan, who last month said, well, wait a minute, there's a group for young adults and for millennials and for elders in the congregation. How about we gather our Gen Xers to connect with each other too? And then he said about organizing it. All of us, links in a human chain of community. And then Mary tells me this week, I felt hurt by what someone said to me. So I sat down with them, not to blame or shame or embarrass or punish, but to say to them, that hurt, and it matters to me, and I think it matters to you too. And I don't want to carry that resentment. I don't want to carry that conflict around with you, unspoken. And I think of Dr. Emily on Thursday with a colossal migraine saying to the choir, I am going to take care of myself, instead of running rehearsal and being utterly miserable. And I think of Andy saying, I needed that hug. Thank you. All of us are links in this human chain of community. This is our fire brigade of caring for yourself and caring for each other and caring for the world. This is the kind of life that you're making for yourself and for each other and for the world. Mission is our attempt to answer in the most basic, simple way, what is it we're here to do? What are we gathering as a community to do? And I know for some folks that word mission is laden with associations, converting the whole world to Christianity. But I'm thinking in a much nerdier way. I'm thinking of mission the way Star Trek would talk about mission. To explore, to seek out, to boldly go. Or mission like Apollo missions, a journey. So I read once this collection of 6-word statements of Unitarian Universalist faith. People trying to boil their whole faith, life, and journey down into 6 words. What keeps you here in community? Where have you come from? Where are you going? What sustains you and fills you back up with life to be in a difficult world? What's your 6-word story of faith? I can't be fully human alone. Love radically, serve gratefully, wonder daily. Sometimes we tell the kids, open minds, helping hands, loving hearts. Here to rehearse the beloved community. Joyful, rooted relationships, resistance, and resilience. 6 words to describe what is this about, this chosen faith of ours. And mission is the word for that too, the wild, breathing heart of what our shared journey is about. Connect bravely, deepen spiritually, embody justice, and always love. It is technically 9 words. The way we often distill our work down here. But the poet William Stafford writes this a different way. He talks about the same thing, I think. He says it in poetry. He says, there's a thread you follow that goes among things that change, but it doesn't change. People wonder about what you are pursuing. You have to explain about the thread, but it's hard for others to see. While you hold it, you can't get lost. Tragedies happen. People get hurt or die, and you suffer and get old. Nothing you can do can stop time's unfolding. You don't ever let go of the thread. It goes among the things that change. It doesn't change. Mission isn't a description of the exact path we've traveled, the route we took to get to this moment. Mission is about the compass heading, the direction we're going, the thing that we're following, that we're listening for as a pilgrim people, a traveling people, making the road by walking. and prepared to be changed by the journey. So here we are then, expanding this building to make space for everyone who wants to join in this strange and beautiful and rooted and transforming community. And that building expansion, just like the rest of the stuff we do, will be beautiful and functional and sustainable and aspirational and pragmatic. I'm so excited to see what the architects bring us back on Saturday, because we gave them, 100 of us, a list of impossible demands. And I'm so curious. But here's the thing, our commitment to this project, this is an expression of our hope and our trust in the future that we're building, that there will be a future. And the kind of life and community we invite each other into isn't a passing thing, but an enduring need. And it sounds sometimes grandiose to say that out loud, but it's true. We're not expanding this building as an act of vanity or even of a thin optimism. But we're going to put time and talent and treasure into space for a community that will endure for decades beyond us. And this is the right time for it. This is the moment in our country to invest ourselves in community, to dream and plan and make a way. Who's to say we weren't made for this time? 3 years ago, only 3 years ago, we opened up again for weekly services in person. Only 2 years ago, Rachel arrived and restarted our religious education program. Only 1 year ago, Dr. Emily arrived and restarted our music program. In this coming year ahead of us, we'll expand hours for Dr. Emily and for Scott, each of whom are only half-time, astonishingly. In this coming year, we'll launch a Montessori-based Sunday morning religious education program for preschoolers called Spirit Play, led by trained teachers. This coming year, we'll expand the business and operational and communications functions of the staff team. That one is less glamorous, and we decided not to lead with that as the main message for the pledge drive. But it matters. You build on foundations. And that's why the invitation to give generously this year, to make this pledge in March of support for next fiscal year starting in July so the board can build the budget. Not to give until it hurts, but to give until it feels good. Each year in March when we do this thing, I have the strange job of saying we really do need your financial support, but not in like a weird, cringy, shaming sort of way. The work is to face the plain reality that money is a big part of what makes this place run. But the pledge drive is not a passive-aggressive guilt trip. You know, if this congregation really mattered to you, I'm sure you'd do the right thing. And this pledge drive that we do, the way we talk about money, there's no fear in it. There's no fear, there's no scarcity at all in this thing. You know, if you don't do your part, this place will collapse into ruin, but I'm sure you'll do the right thing. And this pledge drive, the way we talk about money, it's not even really about like getting presented with a bill for the value that you get. 5 musicians at, I don't know, what's a good session rate? Like $200 for the session, divided by the number of people in the room, and you start to like tally up, what was this worth to me? We're not consumers looking for a bargain. We're all here as co-creators, making a whole bigger than any of us. And the way instead that we talk about money is simple and direct and forthright. And in every newcomer class, every time we gather, I'm going to say it again in like an hour in the Emerson room, I tell folks there are people in this community who give 5-figure pledges of support, and there are people in this community who make 2-figure pledges of support for whom the depth of generosity is exactly equal based on the circumstances of their lives. Abundance is what we get from all of us together. So don't forget, this is reminder number 3 already in this service, to pick up your pledge packet from the table in the hall after the service and fill it out and drop it off right away or next week. But really, the invitation that's under that is to help create this place for everyone else around you, to pass it forward to the people who haven't even heard yet of this progressive, open-hearted, open-minded religion with a very long name that does not describe us very well, tucked into a neighborhood on the east side of Boulder, the people who haven't found us yet but are looking already. This pledge drive, your financial support, that's not what the place is about. That's not what the mission is. The money's not the point. But it's a thing that helps us live into that mission. Part of what it is to be packed and ready for the journey ahead. Music and friendship and tears and celebration are the sustenance that we need for the trip. And shared values made real in the world, those are the thick-soled boots that are going to grip even better when the terrain gets rocky. And love at the center is the compass heading that we follow. In the rough surf of the world, the folks who gather in this house, the people around you right now, comfort us in our afflictions and afflict us just the right amount when we get too comfortable. And we make all together a human chain of community that keeps any one of us from being swept away and that reaches out a hand to anyone adrift. And we follow the thread of love through the labyrinth of the world, and we don't let go of that guide. Amen.
Will you rise in body or in spirit? Is this one on now? Or should I use this one? This one. Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us, we'll lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night. If you cannot sing like angels, if you cannot speak before thousands, you can give from deep within you. You can change the world with your love. Love will guide us. Peace has tried us. Hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night.
Well, you heard his message. Now I'm going to focus it down a little bit. Our Share Our Plate partner for the month of March is the Wildlands Restoration Volunteers. And this group is being sponsored by our Climate Action Ministry group. And they've asked me to make one additional announcement that they're planning an all-ages service project a little later in the spring in conjunction with Wildlands Restoration. So watch for that announcement. There'll be sign-up tables in the Sky Room. But this morning, we're pleased to have one of those Wildland volunteers with us. We'll share Alan Carpenter over here. We'll share more about the organization's goals and mission. Alan?
Do I look wild? Well, I hope so. Wildlands Restoration Volunteers, or WRV for those of you in the know, was founded 26 years ago this month by Ed Self. Abetted by, I'm sure, his wife, Amy. Thank you both for this wonderful opportunity that I have engaged in over 20-some years. I can't keep track anymore. WRV is a nonprofit organization whose mission, be careful now, is to heal the land and build community. Sound familiar? That's right. So WRV operates through projects that we and our partners in the local, state, federal land management agencies, plus other nonprofits, cook up collectively. This year, WRV will offer upwards of 200 projects of all sorts of restoration genre, if you will. Stuff like seeds, plants, rivers, trails, families. The list just goes on and on. There's something for everybody. One of your members asked this morning, how young can you be to participate? I'm not sure what the answer is. Chainsaw, not so much. But there's things in WRV for everybody, no matter how old you are. Our projects are done by crews of volunteers, just like you, who are supervised and trained, what's the word I'm looking for? Led by experienced volunteer crew leaders. They're really kind of the guts of WRV. There are other volunteers who round up tools and supplies for the various projects we do, and sometimes prepare food. Paid WRV staff folks interact with our partners and organize the projects. Tomorrow, one of the first projects of the year will happen in Longmont, at the City of Longmont greenhouses. Seeds that volunteers collected last year and have been sitting in the refrigerator or other places are now going to be planted into little pots, just little things, and the seedlings from those little plants will be transplanted out this year, closing the circle. From my first WRV project at Shanahan Ridge, and whenever it was, way back when, I have been blessed to work with positive, upbeat, can-do people who want to make the world a better place while building a community of restoration volunteers. How cool is that? That's exactly what our country needs right now. Volunteering has benefited me so much. It's helped me develop a greater sense of purpose in life. It's helped me cultivate social connections with my volunteers, and it's helped me get a lot more physical activity too. I want to thank you all for the contributions that you and your fellow parishioners make to WRV. It is a terrific organization that benefits from your support. I'm going to stick around after the service. I'll be in the room next door. So if you want to come by and chat, please do. Thank you.
And you'll find that Alan is a delightful person to chat with, so please take advantage. I invite you to give as generously as you are able. For those online, you can use the QR code, which you'll find a link in the video description. And for those of you here in person, you can either scan the QR code or make a donation as the ushers now pass the baskets. May our gifts be used to enact justice, bringing peace and love to the Boulder community.
Rooted relationships, joyful resistance and resilience. I can't be fully human alone. Love radically, serve gratefully, wonder daily. Or, for the full 9 words, connect bravely, deepen spiritually, embody justice, and always love. Our service ends, the work begins again. Go in peace, and amen. We rise in body or spirit. Let's close in song.
Yeah.
From this house to the world, we will go hand in hand. From this house to the world, we will go hand in hand. From this of the government. But it's all you need, and love will hold us together, make us a shelter to weather the storm. And I'll be my neighbor's keeper, so the whole world will know that we're not alone. It's waiting for you, knocking at your door. In the moment of truth, when your heart hits the floor and you're on your knees, and love will hold us together, make us a shelter to weather the storm. And I'll be my neighbor's keeper, so the whole world will know that we're not alone. This is the first day of the rest of your life. This is the first day of the rest of your life. 'Cause even in the dark, you can still see the light. It's gonna be alright. It's gonna be alright. This is the first day of the rest of your life. This is the first day of the rest of your life. 'Cause even in the dark, you can still see the light. It's gonna be alright. It's gonna be alright. Love will hold us together, make us a shelter to weather the storm.